Hello gardener, welcome back to my channel. It is January, which is the coldest month of the year in the United States. I'm getting a ton of questions about covering plants to protect them from the cold, so I thought I'd share some of my favorite lazy gardener tips for protecting your plants during the winter or skipping the cover altogether. I don't know about you, but I absolutely loathe extra garden work like covering plants during the winter. Covering plants is annoying, it's stressful, it's a lot of work. I have learned some tricks over the years of just how to avoid it as much as possible, so that is what I'm going to share with you all today. When do you need to cover a plant, and when can you just avoid covering plants altogether? If you're new here, hello and welcome. My name is Jara. I've been gardening all of my life, and I'm a professional seed and plant nursery. I love to share my knowledge and teach others how to garden and grow food, so you've come to the right place if you want to improve your gardening skills. First off, let's talk about why we cover plants during the winter and how cold damage occurs. You're going to hear two terms, winter frost and hard freeze. Winter frost is when temperatures hit 32 degrees Fahrenheit when water starts to freeze. This causes water to condense and form tiny ice crystals that collect on the surface of your plants, or the leaves. Cold damage occurs in the spot where these ice crystals come into contact with the leaf surface. So when covering plants, you need to surround them with something that will block these crystals from touching your plants. Throwing frost protection material directly onto a plant is bad because when it touches the leaves or stems, it can directly transfer the cold from the outside air into the plant tissue, causing frost damage to areas of contact, which just defeats the whole purpose of the protective cover in the first place. The ideal setup is to have the material draped over the plant without any direct contact to allow for proper insulation and air circulation. Throwing frost protection or blankets, whatever material you may have over a plant is better than nothing, but damage can still occur. So ideally, you want to build some kind of a structure or frame around your plant and then drape the material over that. Make the material go all the way to the ground and lock it in place with stakes or stones. The soil will release a lot of heat during the night, which gets trapped in the bubble you just created around the plant, keeping it warm inside. Do not tie the material shut around the trunk or main stem of your plants because then the warmth from the soil is lost. Most plants will survive frost if protected, except for super tropical stuff, which I will get to in a little bit. But when we have a hard freeze, that's another story. A hard freeze is when temperatures drop to 28 degrees Fahrenheit or below. Now the water inside of your plants starts to freeze. When water freezes, it also expands. So essentially the freezing water is expanding inside of your plants, causing bursts or ruptures to the cell wall structure. This causes significant damage, and a lot of vegetable crops and plants can't survive this. Sometimes cold damage only occurs to the upper foliage, and as long as the root system and main stem is alive, the plant or fruit tree will just grow back. But when the ground freezes and the root system is damaged, the whole plant is dead. There's really nothing you can do about it. So who has to worry about hard freezes? Garden Zone data tells the average coldest temperature you can get during the winter in your area. I'm in Zone 10A, which can get down to 30 degrees Fahrenheit, which I pretty much agree with. That's the coldest that I've seen in my garden. Zone 9B can see temperatures down to 25 degrees Fahrenheit, while Zone 9A gets down to 20 Fahrenheit, and it gets lower and lower as you go down the garden zones. Therefore, anyone in garden zones 9 and below have to worry about hard freezes. If you don't know your garden zone, there is a link to a website called Plant Maps in the description below, and that will help you figure it out. So how do you know which plants need to be covered and which don't? You need to research the cold hardiness of your plants and fruit trees, which is the lowest temperature at which that particular plant can tolerate. Anything below that and it starts getting cold damage. Let me give you a few examples. Over the years, I have noticed that my tomato plants start to get frost damage at around 35 degrees Fahrenheit. A lot of the leaves get damaged and just die and fall off. Tomato plants get significant cold damage when things drop at 32 degrees Fahrenheit or below. Like entire plants die off. When temperatures are estimated to hit 32 degrees Fahrenheit or below in my area, I should cover my tomato plants or just accept that a bunch of them will die. This is the same for the majority of flowers and herbs that I grow, like basil and Mexican sunflowers. I have a cherry mango tree, which is cold hardy to about 30 to 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Every winter I do get a few nights where it gets that cold, and a lot of the leaves and branches die back if I don't cover the entire tree. What is even more annoying is that a lot of mango varieties like cherry also flower during this time of the year. The flowers are super cold sensitive and start to get damaged when temperatures fall around below 45 degrees Fahrenheit or so. If the flowers die back, then I get no fruit that year. So I really baby my mango tree all winter, covering it, etc. When it was smaller, I would put it in a huge zip-up frost protection bag over the entire tree and hang a few heat mats in the center to keep it warm on the coldest nights. Now it's too big for the bags, so I pounded some T-post around it to hang greenhouse plastic over it and still putting in some heat mats in the inside. The most cold sensitive plants are going to be the super tropical things like guanabana, bananas, guava, ice cream bean tree, mangosteen, sugar apple, and starfruit, just to name a few. I have to cover those up even in my Zone 10A Florida garden. An example of something I don't have to cover is my Florida Prince peach tree, which is cold hardy down to 20 degrees Fahrenheit. It never never gets to 20 degrees Fahrenheit in my area, so I don't have to worry about covering it at all. Same goes for any brassica crops that I'm growing, like cabbage, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, and bok choy, like this beautiful purple bok choy. Another thing to consider is if the plant is near the end of its life cycle, like kale or lettuce that is showing signs of bolting or going to the flowering stage. Is it worth the work of covering it up or just let it go? These tomatoes were planted here last September and have produced a ton for me by this point. If they die from the cold right now, it's no big deal for me. I'm going to plant a fresh round of tomatoes for my spring harvest very soon anyways. For those plants that do need protection, I like to keep it super simple. Use what you have at home. Old sheets or light blankets work great for larger areas. For smaller plants, just invert a container over them or bring them indoors. Add a thick layer of mulch around the base of perennials to prevent the root system from freezing. You can make hoops out of PVC by anchoring them into the ground or into the side of your raised garden beds, then cover that with frost protection material. I use a lot of T-posts all over my garden, so it's pretty easy to just use those and attach frost protection to it. But let's talk about not covering things, or essential tips and tricks so that you can avoid covering plants as much as possible. Like I mentioned earlier, it is important to study the cold hardiness of the plants in your garden so you know the lowest temperature it can handle. However, you really should research the cold hardiness before you even buy or decide to plant it in your garden. The best thing for you to do is to buy fruit trees and plants locally, because they will carry the varieties that were specifically bred to grow well in your area and survive the coldest temperature you receive during the winter. So just start off with that. Only planting things that survive the amount of cold you get anyways, so you don't have to cover it up. The next tip is to take notes after every cold front passes through your area of which plants were actually affected. This is how I learned how much cold my tomato plants could tolerate, simply by observation over the years. A lot of people wouldn't think to grow tomatoes during the winter here in Florida because it's looked at as such a warm season, summer kind of crop, but I noticed it handles a decent amount of cold, so that is why I grow them during the winter. Obviously, this would not work for those of you in a zone lower than me where it gets more cold, but you will start recognizing which plants are fine and which plants really do need to be covered up. That way you can focus on those, the ones that actually need to be covered and protected. If you don't want to cover things up, don't plant cold sensitive crops during the winter. Plant only the veggie crops you know will survive. I plant up my fall and winter garden with a ton of cold hardy vegetable crops like broccoli, cauliflower, mustard greens, spinach, Swiss chard, celery, carrots, and beets, just to name a few. All of these things will survive the cold in my area and I don't have to cover them up. I do not plant warm season cold sensitive crops like yard long beans, loofah, ginger, watermelons, or cucumbers during this time of the year because they will just die from the cold unless I cover them up and keep them very, very warm. But I'm not going to do that. Better to plant them during the spring or summer instead of trying to force them to grow out of their season. Consider planting the things that do get damaged in containers or grow bags so you can move it into a greenhouse, into your garage, or indoors for the winter. You could choose dwarf varieties of tropical fruit trees and easily grow them in a large container so you can move it indoors during the winter or in my greenhouse. That's what I do. I like moving things rather than having to build structures all over my garden and hang frost protection or plastic from it. I just think that's easier. This is an arbor area that I covered with greenhouse plastic to make a temporary greenhouse to store my cold sensitive plants. I have also moved plants into my screened porch and covered the screen area with greenhouse plastic to prevent the cold from coming in. There are lots of structures that you can temporarily convert into a greenhouse during the winter by covering it with plastic. Green stock garden towers are great because you can just roll the whole thing into your garage, so consider planting up and using up a bunch of green stock garden towers during the winter. A great idea that I learned while visiting a food forest and nursery called The Reed Farm in DeLand, Florida, is to plant fruit trees in a circle with the more cold sensitive trees inside of the circle and the more cold hardy trees on the outside. Then you light a bonfire in the middle on the coldest nights to kind of disperse warmth through the area. This is a great solution if you have a lot of fruit trees or a larger growing area. Put some thought into the planning and configuration of your garden and plants to create warmer pockets or microclimates. This allows you to plant some things that might actually be out of your zone just because it is growing in a warmer microclimate. Another trick that I learned from a nursery comes from Cody Co Farms in Florida. They installed very tall overhead sprinklers throughout their nursery and food forest. They turn the sprinklers on to wet the surface of the plants and saturate the soil. There are a few reasons why this works. For one, moist soils release heat slower than dry soils, thus why it's a good idea to water your plants well, especially the root systems, before a cold front moves into the area. Moist soil takes longer to freeze than dry soil. This tiny minute detail can make the difference between a plant that dies and one that survives. Also, as the water on the surface of the leaves freezes, it releases heat, which kind of acts like like an insulator for a small period of time, which again, just a few degrees warmer can make the difference and help you avoid the work of having to cover up plants. And there are so many other ways to create microclimates. For example, I plant my super tropical Barbados cherry tree in this corner between my house and the fence because it shields it from the winds that bring in the cold. This wall of my house absorbs heat during the day and releases it at night, keeping this area just a little bit warmer. This is a little warm microclimate, and I don't need to cover my plants that are growing in this spot. Another design idea is to plant a line of trees or hedges on the north side of your property to act as a windbreak, essentially reducing the amount of winds that move cold frost into your growing space and garden. Some people will build a greenhouse attached to their chicken coop because the activity of the chickens generates heat that keeps the greenhouse warm. Something that I do is that I like to plant cool season crops on the east side of my house that gets gentle and cooler morning sun instead of my garden over here on the west side of my house that gets more intense and hotter afternoon sun. So for example, peas don't like the heat at all. I plant peas on the east side of my garden where they get morning sun, and in general they just stay a few degrees cooler. I plant my tomatoes that I grow during the winter on the west side that gets a lot of afternoon light, keeping this area more on the warm side. This strategy is using different types of stages of sunlight during the day to my advantage. Plus, my fence also helps shield this area from cold front winds. It traps warmer air in this area for a longer period of time, and my house is very close to the garden, which releases warmth at night. All of these little details keep this area just a few degrees warmer, enough to keep my tomato plants alive without me having to cover them up. If you want to learn more about creating microclimates, take a permaculture design course. You will learn so many ways to use natural resources like sunlight, heat, and water to create microclimates. These are my lazy gardener tips to avoid covering plants during the winter as much as possible. If you found these tips helpful, give this video a big thumbs up and share it with your gardening friends. Also, let me know in the comments, are you covering up your plants this year or letting them ride out the winter? I'd love to hear your strategies and ideas for keeping plants alive during the wintertime. I recommend you watch this video next, which is my top 10 most cold hardy vegetables to plant during the winter so you can still grow food without having to cover anything up. Happy gardening, and I'll see you in the next video.